Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup here on Switch to Linux, and today we are going to be having a look at some fun surveillance pricing and then how scams are staying up with the times, and definitely worth some consideration. Of course, next week is Thanksgiving, and I pondered, should we just postpone the show or cancel the show, and I'm just going to cancel the show. I'll probably still do like Thursday morning video. I'll probably do some other videos. Obviously, I'm going to keep, I think, a regular video schedule the rest of the week. I'm just going to take the news week off. But hey, that might mean we might get a few shorter news clips if there's something amazing in the news that I think is really cool to see. So hopefully things are good. Hopefully I can get out of here. I'm actually parked in a wash in the Mojave Desert, and is scheduled to do 24 hours of straight rain. But you know, if I get stuck, I'll not be alone. There's 3 or 4 other people out here that I'm, visible with. So I don't know. Maybe we'll all be stuck together, or maybe we'll escape, or maybe I'll just wait it out. I mean, I'll have about 48 hours after it rains before I have to go anywhere. But anyway, yeah, I might get stuck in a wash here in the Mojave Desert, but you never know. It's exciting. But hey, I did move to a spot like the other spot I was last week. I'm very low risk of getting stuck, but the internet's not as good. Had to use Starlink, lots of stuff. So I moved to a different spot. We have really good internet here. It's just, I might just be stranded in Mojave Desert for a while. I don't know. But that is, of course, our basic announcements. Overall, no show next week, and I'll probably do something, but we'll have a look at that. And I don't think there's any other basic announcements. So if you do want to help support the channel, you can have a look at the website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have monthly support options on Locals, Patreon, and Subscribestar if you want to help support the channel over there. We also have a list of affiliates that we use on a regular basis. So those affiliates do actually help keep the lights on around here, things like that. So if you want to help support the channel, you can do that. And what we're going to start with is surveillance pricing, and I wanted to talk about this because there's a new law in New York that doesn't ban it, it just forces the companies to tell you when they're using it, which is very interesting. So we'll get into that in just a moment. So we'll do our 2 topics, we'll do a break for comments, and then we will go ahead and wrap up. Our first topic in the Weekly News Roundup, we want to talk about surveillance pricing. Maybe we'll get into some of those weird conspiracy theories, what I think may and may not be happening. And we'll kind of get to the end here, and we'll end up bashing both parties. And we'll get out and do some fun stuff over this. So when it comes to surge pricing, what we want to start with is, first, do we understand what we are talking about? Or surveillance pricing, I'm sorry. Surveillance pricing is when the data that companies have collected against you, all that's been bought and sold and all those data brokers, is now used against you to adjust your price. They might adjust your price down if you think you'll kind of buy something, but not if it goes over a certain amount. Or they might adjust it up if you're like, my mother died, they're collecting all this. My mother died, I need to get across the country. What's the first flight? We'll catch you on a flight. Of course, Delta is one of the ones that has used that type of a pricing approach. The other place we've actually seen it is one of the office supply stores. I'm not sure if it was Staples, Office Max, whichever, one of those office supply stores. I think it was the St. Louis area. And they used not the targeted micro surveillance data, like the information specifically on you, but they used effectively the type of data that is collected by, what was proposed by Google and the Flock, the Federated collection of cohorts. What does that L stand for? I forget. This is, of course, the same exact approach Mozilla is trying to collect data on. They want to privately collect all of your data for the advertisers, and it's all based on collecting data inside of these cohorts. And so effectively, the office supply company a number of years ago used that information and said, hey, these are lower income people, so let's jack their prices up. Because, they tend to purchase things more emotionally than intellectually, so they'll be more inclined to pay a higher price in a neighborhood that's a little bit better with their funds. And that really is a concern that is going on. Of course, there was some controversy and discussion about this just a couple months ago because Walmart started putting in the digital price tags, and there were questions about, are they going to be changing everybody's prices you walk down the aisles? Or are they going to engage in surge pricing, which is basically like price gouging? And so that really is the principle. So, of course, New York having a look at this stuff, they say when you search for a product online, you might think you're getting the same price as everyone else. Think again. Your price might be different based on everything from your location to what you have looked at online. So they are talking here about mostly online shopping, micro-targeting based on specific factors they have about you. The state of New York is forcing companies to come clean when they set prices using customer data. So according to the law, now they must reveal when they're doing it. Not a ban of it, just let you know when you're doing it. So they're calling this the Algorithmic Price Disclosure Act. And so it's very interesting. We can't look at this, go, yeah, this is kind of dystopian. Maybe we should not do this. No, you just need to tell people when you're doing it. So New York, a swing and a miss. Right. So then they talk here a little bit about the algorithms that go into this. And a lot of this is summarized in a report from the Federal Trade Commission. And they did a surveillance pricing staff perspective report on this. So it's a little 10-page report. They talk about surveillance pricing in here, and they talk about companies collect or obtain individualized information about their actual or potential customers, can potentially use a variety of features to target prices to specific consumers, and to charge particular groups higher prices or use those features to generate greater profits. And so they're basically kind of looking at it. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of redactions in his. I hope this isn't like state secrets. I think it's probably just like comments from individual people. I know I highlighted a bunch more stuff, but apparently all my highlights didn't show up. So we'll just go back to this article and highlight some of the summaries. It basically went in, which is fascinating because it went into a lot of what they're using, how they're using it, use case examples. Actually, there's one of those use case examples I think that I can probably find, and it was very fascinating. So this is different locations, different prices. So pricing targeting, a price targeting tool could be potentially used at office supply retailers to determine different product prices for each of its stores using data gleaned about a nearby competitor's pricing. So if you have more competitors nearby, you lower the prices. If you have fewer competitors nearby, you raise prices. We see this a lot of times in gas stations. I travel through one city in Pennsylvania that the three major Pennsylvania gas stations are all moving in the one city they're converging in. Gas is like 60% cheaper than anywhere else in the state because you got the three gasoline behemoths in the city all fighting over it. But you go up to like the north central, and there's really like Nittany Oil has a monopoly on gas stations, and prices up there are like 50-60% higher than anywhere else in the state. And that's kind of some of the things they're talking about. So search results for new parents. If a consumer is profiled as a new parent, the consumer may intentionally be shown higher prices on baby thermometers on the first page in their in-app search results based on residential zip codes and the time of purchase. Tools could also be potentially used to collect behavioral details that a retailer could use to forecast a customer's state of mind, like using a shopper's selection of fast delivery shipping in an order of infant formula to infer the shopper could be a rushed parent who may be less price sensitive. And so that's really the type of stuff they're looking at in this. Of course, there's nobody up here going, yeah, we should kind of stop doing this. But no. You just need to disclose when you're doing it. Which brings us back to the exact same problem with all the privacy policy laws in this country. Privacy policies do not protect your privacy. They disclose how your privacy is being violated. And that should probably be stopped. And so looking at the report suggests companies could use a wide variety of customer data to achieve their goals. Everything from the geolocation, what they've looked at, also the phone apps that you install, things like that, all those trackers in there. So having a long history, okay, with Staples, 2013, Staples was found to be adjusting prices for people according to their distance from a rival's store. This changed higher prices for households with lower incomes. That's what Staples did. One report found Target charging more for goods viewed on the app than when they were inside the Target store than when they were outside. And then the Cartwright Act antitrust law ban sharing price algorithms that can be used to use competitor data between businesses. So there's a California law that prevents some of this type of stuff being used. But what we see here is this idea of all the surveillance pricing. And this is what brought in some conspiracy theories about this, where they were suggesting that Walmart now switching to digital price tags, which is true, they did. And the idea is that people were concerned that this would mean Walmart could go through and change the prices. Now, what they said is they could change the prices in a matter of a few minutes now versus it would take 48 hours to change the prices throughout the store properly in the past. Now, this is not an automated online pricing system that Walmart is using. They are using a system that the employee still must go around with the phone app and scan the barcode and adjust the pricing. So it's not like a full online automated system. But the concern here is that mass merchant among several retailers, including Whole Foods, Kohl's, and Kroger, to replace traditional price stickers on shelves with small screen electric labels that can be updated remotely. Walmart says theirs are not remotely updated, and there are indeed a couple types of these. Like Best Buy's are updated remotely, and those are tied to the POS system, which can tell you in that particular store, those tags can tell you if the product is in stock. So even if the shelf is empty, you might still have some in stock. It's just up in a cage somewhere. And Walmart's, they're not using the same type of tags. I've looked at the tags in the digital Walmarts, and they're not the same type that are tied into the POS system like Best Buy has. So they say among concerns, lawmakers and some consumers suggest it could use to surge pricing. This is a concern. So a storm is coming through. Like right now, I'm stuck in the Mojave Desert in a wash. And so I don't know, I might be here for a while. And so over here, a big storm is coming in. It's in the middle of a desert. Big storms aren't particularly common in the desert. What stops them from jacking up prices just prior to the big storm? So people run in, buy up everything for all their supplies because, they've never seen these raindrops before, at least not since last year. And they are convinced that the world is going to end, but it won't. It'll proceed. It'll carry on. But the concern is they can more easily raise the prices up. So according to Walmart, a store associate can change product prices across the store in just minutes via DSLs, while the existing sticker system can take up to 2 days. Okay, so who is worried and why? Some fear they can cut employee hours. I don't know. I've been enough Walmarts where the regular employees that have to be there anyway are the ones stuck doing this. I'm not sure it's going to reduce employee hours. I think it might actually reduce the amount of work an employee has to do. But I don't know. I didn't ask. If you're a Walmart employee, let me know your thoughts on that. Widespread adoption of digital price tags appear poised to enable large grocery stores to squeeze consumers to increase profits. Now, they listed here, and I included this article from Forbes because Forbes has lost its ever-loving mind, by the way. They tell us 4 ways digital prices can benefit shoppers and retailers alike. So these are the 4 ways. Now, the first 2, I think, are a benefit to shoppers. The use labels to access product information. Okay, great. For people who meander around the store with a QR code or a phone or something, they can click on the button here and they can use the information and get more information about that product directly just by scanning a QR code on the app, which is cool. Okay, fine. Not for me, but Some people that's very useful for. Okay, so reduce confusion over multi-channel pricing consistency. Okay, if all of these prices are all tied to the online, the app, and in the store, and they're better unified utilizing a system like this, that's actually very beneficial. I can look at stores and do my research. Like, I remember these days, I don't know if you guys did this, broke college student, broke graduate student, I need a new printer. I would drive to 6 different stores in town to find the cheapest price on the printer, only to find the first store they had it cheaper by 10 cents. So I drove all the way back to the first store to buy the printer. I drove all around town to save 10 cents. Okay. All right. I'm guilty of that a long time ago. But now I could sit down and I could say, okay, who might have this product? And if I look on 4 different websites, I go, this retailer has it in stock and this is the price. It saves me a lot of time, and that's good. So I buy into that. Now, these 2 down here, the 2 marked in red, the Forbes has lost their ever-loving mind. These are not benefits for consumers. Collect more productive consumer insights. You know what? I do not want Kroger collecting consumer insights about how many times I buy macaroni and cheese. Okay, no. I do not want them collecting any form of consumer insights. I want them to throw a bunch of crap on the shelf, let me walk in, buy the stuff that I want, and let me walk out. And I didn't want any data collection in the process, which is why I do not use Shoppers Club's cards. And by the way, here's a tip, but you save 15%. Almost every one of those stores, they will accept a random string of 9 digits or 10 digits, whatever it is, 10 digits. They will accept a random string of 10 digits for a phone number. They are not actually looking for a phone number. Their systems are not checked to see if it's a valid phone number. All they want is a number. You go in and you enter 10 random digits on those keypads, you are going to get the same discounts. But I might save 5 cents on gas. Oh, Lord. Okay. You know what? Okay, fine. You are willing to give up all of your data for stupid information. You enjoy yourselves. All right. I have no more words. I'll just be over here collecting my privacy. Okay. This one. Deliver more you get me consumer rewards. I don't want consumer rewards. Okay, I can get the same prices. And by the way, as far as saving the money on gas, there's always a couple gas stations in town. You go and you pay cash and you get the same prices you would paying your credit card with them collecting all of your data. All right. All that saving gas money does is it locks you into their partner gas station as well, which sometimes might be higher. And, you save 5 cents, but it's still, 5 cents more expensive than the gas station down the street. The gas points are useless. But that's the concern. Now, other people are saying that they could go in and they could follow you around the store and change the price in real time. While I think there's parts of that are technically possible right now, I don't think that's something we have the full capability of doing. Okay, just case in point, look at the Amazon stores. They wanted you to go in and scan your palm print. You scan your palm print up there, right? And then as you scan your palm print, you would tie that into your credit card, and you just walk through the store and pick up a bunch of stuff and walk right out. And it's supposed to be this whole AI-ready store, and they do everything. And people are noticing, why does it take like 4 or 5 hours for my credit card to be billed and my invoice to come to me? Well, because they didn't actually have any AI and they didn't actually have a system that worked. What they did is they had those stores having so many cameras, and they were literally outsourcing it to third world countries and paying people a couple of pennies to watch you walk throughout the whole store, and those people had to manually submit the order. Right, so while the technology might technically sort of exist, it is not nearly good enough that I could walk into the store as a human being and I could walk down the aisle, and then they sense me walking down the aisle and they change the price tags before I get there. I pick the item up, noting the price tag. I throw it in my cart. Proceed to meander around the store for another half hour, and then I walk up to a random cash register, and that price is adjusted on that cash register. That's asking for a lot, even for modern technology, even for Amazon partnering with Walmart partnering with Microsoft. Now, are the various individual components possible? Yes. Verizon has the old patent that Yahoo had, which allowed Basically, this is a Bluetooth beacon that collects the advertising data and then transmits it to a billboard down the road, showing you an ad relevant to you based on the profile of your phone. CVS will track you around their stores. If you have their app installed on your phone and Bluetooth turned on, they will give you notifications on discounts in that aisle as you walk down the stores. So they have the technology to know who you are and scan it. I just don't think they have as easy as an ability to keep an identity on you as the marker and then change the price at that register right at that time you approach it. I'm not sure they have that technology yet. They would probably love that technology. However, there is a way around. The giant grocery stores in State College and several other stores of that brand, I think Kroger brands also do this kind of stuff as well. You can go in, use their app, use their self-checkout gun, and you walk in and you take a self-checkout gun, which is tied to your app, and you can walk down the aisle and scan your items as you put them in the cart, and then you walk on out of the store, and then, well, you push the button to pay, and then you walk on out of the store. And as you do that, then what ends up happening is your system will automatically bill your account, and it will go ahead and proceed down and bill you for everything you do. In that type of setting, I think they do actually have the ability to do the surge pricing. I think they do in that particular scenario, if you want my opinion. Are they doing that? Honestly, I don't know. That would be an interesting study that you would want to do. All right, now, here's where this gets a little bit kind of weird, all right? Here's a little bit more. Consumer advocates warn digital price labels could result in surge pricing. So this shift enables a practice known as surveillance pricing, which can use AI to adjust prices in real time based on changing demand. One concerning outcome is surge pricing. So this means that as different times come out, then what ends up happening is you will find a circumstance by which you can find yourself paying higher prices. Ice cream, sunscreen, fans go higher prices during heat waves, emergency supplies during other times. And really the reality is that surge pricing can happen. Now, we have another circumstance to consider here. And this is that circumstance. Are you ready for this one? We just had this giant EBT crisis. And I have a issue with my monitor right now. So give me just a second to see if I can get this working again. Almost. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that works. All right. So we have this EBT crisis that just came up. Okay. So in this, a whole lot of low-income people got cut off on their funds. And it caused this giant national debate. Now we're questioning all these things. And a lot of interesting things came out. One of these is that 10% of all purchases on Snap were soft drinks and sodas. So I did some digging around, and according to The Hill, and I think this is a recent article, according to The Hill, 20 to 25% of Coca-Cola revenue comes from EBT SNAP benefits. Now, you should not be able to buy soft drinks on SNAP. It does stand for Supplemental Nutrition. I think Supplemental Nutrition is an access program or something program, but it's Supplemental Nutrition. There is no nutrition inside of Coca-Cola. It is not nutritious. All right. It is pure sugar water. It causes diabetes. The amount of people having health crises on EBT is significantly higher than those not on EBT, which is another interesting fact I didn't grab articles on. But here's the thing. These digital price tags and this type of surveillance pricing leads to higher prices in lower income areas where the government is subsidizing the food. In which case, now our government taxes go to provide 20 to 25% of Coca-Cola's profit, which is why Coca-Cola is lobbying the government to keep soft drinks in the EBT SNAP programs. So the same thing that happens in college education. The government gets involved, throws a bunch of money at it with student loans. The universities jack up the prices because there's this infinite pool of government money that's somebody else's responsibility to pay. So surveillance pricing literally leads to increased costs, like increased prices in areas where low-income people are, where taxpayers fund it all to boost 20 to 25% of the profits of the Coca-Cola company. The Republicans are right. We need to end EBT. The Democrats are right. We need to end surveillance pricing. Can we come together on a couple of these principles? I'm not saying for the entire end of EBT. I just think there's a lot more abuse than we think is in there, and we need to address that abuse. But at the same time, I think the concept of surveillance pricing absolutely needs to be stopped. So let me know your thoughts about all that surveillance pricing stuff in the comments down below. That is some pretty wild stuff and very interesting indeed. So let me know your thoughts down there, and we'll have a look at the full stream link is down below. If you're just catching the part of this, you want to watch the whole stream link, that'll be in the description as well. All right, let me get set up for our second section over here. On to our second topic here at the Weekly News Roundup. Today we want to talk a little bit about these scammers are keeping up with the times. Are you? So we see a lot of scams all the time. Of course, I talked about some of those email scams. And then shortly after that, of course, we got some details about how that scam worked and things like that. And the thing is, though, is that scammers are really keeping an eye on the struggles of common people. And they are utilizing the struggles of those common people in order to engage in a number of scams. So I usually see scams and include a few of the scam things. But all of these were stuff that's very relevant to our modern society right now. Of course, one of the modern issues we have in society is there's a lot of jobs being lost, a lot of people being laid off. AI is taking a lot of these jobs. And if you watch, and I watch a couple of job recruiters, which is kind of funny. It's just a world I have no part in because it's like I have enough clients and stuff going on. I'm good. So I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if I'd want to continue on the world if I had to find a job. I don't know. But you see all these, and one of the things that we see that we seriously need some policy against, we see a lot of ghost jobs where, companies put these job postings out there but have no intention to hire them. We see a lot of scam jobs. So they're not actual legitimate positions. They're just fishing for more information. And I gotta say, man, if you are expected to hand out every bit of information about you and your job history and everything else to some nebulous place on the internet, this is the greatest place for scams. And so right now, with many people saying it's taking forever to find a job, you're accepting any job interview you find. Unfortunately, that might mean many of you being interviewed for MLM scams and crap like that. But this one's even worse, believe it or not, somehow. So this was a job interview. So be careful responding to unexpected job interviews. One of our customers was contacted on LinkedIn about a job offer. So of course, you got to have that LinkedIn profile and then use all of that. And then with all of the LinkedIn job offer stuff, then you'll get amazing offers from companies. You'll get amazing offers from scammers. So they found the LinkedIn policy profile. The scammer sent out the job offer, the invite for an interview. The initial message was followed up by an email. So they had all this interview stuff. And then what they ended up doing is sending you a link, which was supposedly to Zoom, but when you actually got here, it's not actually Zoom. You click on the view invitation button here, and it pops you up with a thing saying, hey, we need to update your Zoom app. Click here now. You're like, oh, I got to update my Zoom app. I don't want to miss my job interview. So you click the button without thinking about it, and you've just installed malware onto your computer. Now people are already scraping every bit of data about you. Now, Malwarebytes has blocked this already, but the domain is meetingzs.com, and ultimately it'll block it here. This is that t.co links. Of course, I'm suspicious of any short link that I do not control. And so these links here will all go to these scam meetings, but these guys are getting out there and installing malware off of people who are just trying to find a job. They're just trying to pay off those loans. They're just trying to get work. And that really is really the challenge that we see here. And that's kind of the first way that they know people are looking for jobs. They know people are desperate. So they are breeding on this desperateness in order to get people to get in on these links. All right, so the second thing is copyright warnings. Mostly those of us content creators. Oh, I got a copyright warning. Now scammers are sending bogus copyright warnings to seal your X login. So favorite Forbes correspondents recently wrote about receiving several fake copyright infringement notices from X. Maybe we need to overhaul the copyright system, both the laws themselves and also how they are responded to on big tech. That might solve some of this. But again, this is not big tech's platform being used. It's you get an email claiming it's from X. We've received a DMCA notice regarding your account. And so it makes the sense that many users would worry they broke about a rule. So it says, hi, and space and nobody's name there because their code sucks. Some recent activity on your page may not fully meet our community standards. Take a moment to review the information. Notice date November 13th. Kindly review the material. If you think it was an error, you can request a check using the link below. Of course, you click on that. It goes to a scammer's website. If no update is received, your page visibility will disappear. No, not my page visibility. So they build in that urgency that causes you to overlook the basic stuff you'd be looking for. And of course, they kind of click through on there and then it lands you onto an X login page. And then you need to quote unquote log into that. And then they will have officially phished your data. Of course, if the ultimate thing of course, outside of the basic regular stuff, if you do get a legitimate copyright claim, it is not sent. Well, you might get it sent to your email, but it will always appear in your account, so you log directly into your account, and it will contain very, very specific information. And hey, they'll even know your name, by the way, at least your username. So they are now going against these copyright claims because nobody wants to lose their social media in this social media addicted world. That would be the end all, man. Ah, the end is nigh. The end is nigh. I lost my Twitter account. And, of course, now everyone's trying to do 2FA, and 2FA is popping up in places where people weren't expecting it. And this is a downside of using the passkeys and other things like that, because even the passkeys need some form of validation. Even on my passkey system I have now to access these different accounts, I still have to go in there and enter my PIN. I still have to do something. I still get inexplicable pop-ups when I know I need to be logging in. The difference is I know I need to be logging in. So this one is using the fact that people are confused by 2FA, but have come to the realization that they need 2FA. And so they are creating fake sign-in windows, and they are designed to steal your MFA or 2FA credentials so they can break into your account bypassing the MFA. Don't you remember when they told us the MFA just makes the accounts unable to be hacked? And now they're forcing everybody to do it with everything other than a passkey hard-coded to your individual computer. So, when your computer falls off the desk, you can't access anything anymore. And by the way, when the whole world is using passkeys for everything, they're going to find a way to get past the passkeys. We need to stop sitting here going, wow, we have finally evolved to the peak of all technology. We have passkeys now. Nothing will make our accounts insecure. They will be forever locked in perpetual security because of passkeys. Are you really that stupid? Come on. Fake browser pop-ups that look like they're designed, they look exactly like the real sign-in windows. So these browser attacks can fool most anyone, but password managers and a few habits can keep you safe. Of course, don't forget the scam we talked about it a couple months ago, that they're saying here that you can solve all these problems by keeping by using your passwords, and your password manager will be able to detect the page. Well, remember that if you have your password manager automatically detect all the logins on your page, they can be spoofed and they can steal your passwords. You can't win, guys. You can't win. So that's why I think the best way to use the password manager, no autofills. You have to manually approve things from the password manager to the site. And, again, as we talked about last week, you can't stop stupid. You can't stop stupid. There's nothing we can do to make the whole world completely safe from falling for a scam. You can't stop stupid. You're just not going to do it. All right, so researchers have found the phishing as a service kit known as Sneaky 2FA that's making these capabilities available in criminal marketplaces. That's wonderful. You just buy the little kit and you just add a little JavaScript code and it just adds a 2FA code onto your site. So, you know, you hack into a site, you plug the code into there, and you just sit back as people, I don't know how to do this stuff, but okay, I'll do it. And then you're just stealing people's accounts and such. Attackers use the kit to create fake browser windows using HTML and CSS. Very deceptive because it even includes a partially rendered address bar showing the legitimate website URL. So much for checking that URL. Normally, we'll tell people to check whether the URL in the address bar matches your expectations, but that will not help. The fake URL bar can fool the human eye. It can't fool a well-designed password manager, except it did. And every password manager was susceptible to it. Some of them have patched it. Some of them have not. While using a password manager consistently matters, not only encourages strong, unique passwords, also helps spot inconsistencies by refusing autofill on suspicious forms. But again, do not use autofill. The autofill feature is what caused the vulnerability in the password managers. So you should manually input the information, but you do it in a way that the password manager detects if this is the legitimate site or not. And that is kind of what you do. So what can we do? As always, you are the first line of defense. Don't click on links and unsolicited emails of any type before verifying and confirming they were sent by someone you trust. Staying informed is also important. And remember, it's not just about trusting what you see on the screen. Layered security stops attackers before they get anywhere. I highlighted that in red because I wanted to remember to talk about a point. One of the reasons we are susceptible to scams in general is because of our education system conditions us to respond to every question, to every pop-up, to everything, which is why we probably need to not have as much technology inside of schools, because we need to have a way to foster better means of training. And if we go into schools and teach them that they have to fill out every survey, they have to fill out every pop-up, they have to fill out every prompt, they are conditioned to fall for scams. And so we need to remember that and not allow them to fall for scams. So there you are, guys. As the world changes, as societal problems change, scammers are on top of this more often than you think. And so you have to be really, really careful, paying attention to not get super excited if you get that job interview you've been looking for. Don't get super excited so fast that you jump right on into it. You got to slow down. You got to verify everything. Scammers are staying up with the times. Are you? There's a good question. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, the entire stream link is in the description down below. All right, let me check in on some commenties here. Start over on Matrix. And let's see what we got here. Come on, where are we at? Let's just see. Addicted to eye candies. Can I make Ex Libra eye candy? I don't know. Okay, I think of leaving my phone in the car when I go to the store. Yeah, I mean, I always leave my phone. I have conditioned myself. I used to carry it in with me and read news articles while I'm standing in checkout, but anymore, I have conditioned myself. I do not carry a phone into a store anymore. There's just too much stuff there. Of course, if you do, just make sure you are turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth, make sure those things are off. Those are really the biggest vulnerabilities. So just be aware of that. Let's see. Ghost jobs. All those grocery store jobs are always there. And the one dance instructor job I've been seeing for 3 years. Yep, there you go. Passkeys are probably still better than voice print. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I can't wait to use my voice. That's right. See, bank asking. I just wanted to send an email to my bank asking, are y'all retarded? The answer is yes, they are indeed. OTP is okay. Yeah. Oh, just wait until we get into our stories, our quick lines. We hear about you might actually have to do 2FA just to verify any credit card purchase you use. We'll get into that in a moment. Okay, let me refresh Rumble there. I think we are actually having problems with Rumble because I'm able to see Rumble. It seems to be working. But hold on, let me double check real quick. Is it working? Okay, yes. Yeah, Rumble is working for me, but I only have one person viewing on Rumble and there's no comments. So something weird is going on at Rumble. I have no earthly idea. It's working for me. I don't know why it's not working for everyone else. Okay. Let's see. Over here on Odyssey, got 17 over there. Hello. Eula Swirls is here. Greetings. AI taking jobs, but somehow there are skilled shortages. Interesting. This is weird. Why in the world? Somebody has liked it. There's one person viewing it, and I assume that's me. I don't know. Something's going on Rumble. I'm not sure what. Let me know if Rumble's working for people. Rumble does not work for moderator. Okay. So it works, but you're not showing as live. No Rumble here. Weird. Maybe I somehow hit a private stream or something. Like, even if you go directly to the link, go to the link that's on switchedtolinux.com/live. See if Rumble's on that link. I have no idea. Maybe it went to like a private. So I have no earthly idea. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Over on the Tubies, we only have 34 watching on YouTube though. That's actually really weird. All right, super low. Is ClamAV good enough? Hey, if you're looking for antivirus on Linux, I didn't include the story, but Kaspersky, the Russian research company, they actually released a Linux version of their their antivirus. So we have another Linux antivirus now. It's Kaspersky. If you need ClamTK, if you want a graphical front end for ClamAV, but it's only good for finding older Windows viruses from my experience. Yeah. Software from legit sources. You don't have to worry about it in Linux. Yeah. Okay. Same here. Found a few on those drives. Did anyone try BSDs? Blue screens of death. Hey, only on my router. I've, my router's pfSense, which is OpenBSD. So, let's see. Trying GhostSpace for real. My VM, but soon a bare metal install. So you tried Haku. It needs a lot of work to be mainstream OS for common hardware. Plus, it needs a good functional web browser. It's a plur of Linux. Linuxes or Linux. I'd probably guess. I don't know. I think probably just Linux. Multiple Linux systems. I think it's probably just Linux. Manjaro GNOME works well enough for me, but I'm testing Manjaro XFC on the older ThinkPad. There you go. Shut down right now, which is different. Let's see. AMD drivers. Yeah, no Rumble for Dan. I was thinking we'd lose you. Tom has it going though. Yeah, it's on. Let me refresh it again over here. I'm wondering if the Rumble link, I think there is a button in there for like a private stream. I'm wondering if maybe I put up a private stream. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but I don't know. And I know I fixed the stream key because it's working for me. Now we think about what Lunduke said about being WF Puppet. You know what? I really haven't followed it. I think he's talking about Linus Torvalds. His speech of the WF, wasn't that like years ago, or was that, I swear I thought I saw 2013 or 2014. You know what? I don't care. Okay. How's that? All right. Let's see. Emulation, at least Great OS. Is actually smart because I get control things. Be careful with open source. It's not as free as it seems. Emulation like DOSBox, Wine, etc. makes it possible to do it. Let's see. How we just write a law that makes this kind of stuff illegal? That would make sense. You're asking a bunch of clowns to do something that makes sense. All for free market, but not when 1 minute Steve pays $2. I pay $3. The next minute, the same for the candy bar. Yep. AKA free but moderated market. I remember something similar where airlines would charge you more if you're on Apple versus Android. Yeah, I think Delta was in trouble for doing some surge pricing of some form. If You used a phone versus a computer. Yeah, there was something on Delta. There was something I encountered in Delta in my research. Charging you a different rate based on your IPs. Yep. Local Walmart recently posted, scan to see how we use your data QR codes on the outside of the exits, but not the entrance doors. Those QR codes went to the 404 page. Why am I not surprised? You burned $5 in gas to save 10 cents. Yes. Especially at that time, I was driving a 1982 or 83 Caprice Classic. Can't remember exactly which one. You know, that 8-cylinder land yacht with a carburetor. Oh yeah, you turn that thing on and you could see the carbon dioxide pouring out the back. I was the one Greta Thunberg was worried about would end the world with that land yacht. But yeah, you know. Last console I bought was a Switch Lite. Never owned Xbox. Last Sony console I owned was a PS2 Slim. Give their data is like them taking the mark of the beast for food. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, and if we don't take a solid stance, we will get to the point where we will buy into the mark of the beast because we's hungry. Okay, Satan, I will indeed give up all of my stuff to get a cheeseburger. And that's kind of where we are. Things from the supermarket, better at buying from small farms if you can. Not a lot of small farms in the Mojave Desert, believe it or not. And I saw some individual little minivans on the side of the road selling tamales and other things like that. But I don't know, man. Around here, I'm just not quite sure. I'll go to my Aldi's grocery store instead. You know. Best window manager for X11. I don't know. Let's see. Easy answer for that. Why topic? Sudo touch that like button like a Van Panther. There you go. Yep. Touch the like button like a Van Panther. EBT needs to exist for the poorest of the poor and the truly disabled and the elderly to kick people off who can work, but make it a way of life off of it. Yep. Soda tax bad. Snap soda ban good. Coca-Cola poison sure. Soda, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I can't buy into a soda tax. But I also don't think that if you're asking for handouts from taxpayers, you should get highly nutritive food, and that's about it. All right. Favorite one is a Wayland comp, Hyperland. Yeah. Okay. X, it's not Twitter. I'm sorry. It is Twitter. Deal with it. I prefer Plasma because I have a preference for taskbars and docks. Yep, there you go. Maybe I mean a long time on the bottom where you can have icons in the application manager. Yeah. A lot of discussion about UIs inside of systems. Someone could read all those. Fun, geeky discussions. Handwriting was so bad, my teachers gave me Alpha Smart so they could read what I write. Uh-oh. Okay. Rumble, no worky for you, huh? 10-minute mark. All right. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump on over to QuickLines. All right, we have a couple of updates in QuickLines. The first update, we got an update to the North Korean infiltration into U.S. companies as remote IT workers. We covered this story briefly a few months back when it was opening, but turns out 5 people have now pled guilty to helping North Koreans defraud U.S. companies by posing as remote IT workers. So basically what these guys were doing is setting up their computers as they were setting up their computers in the United States to use a U.S. IP address and like a U.S. background in their system. And they were able to get in there, and a couple of these guys got like $80,000, $90,000, whereas a few of them got, $3,000 to $4,000. But these were people who had access to some of these other company systems, which really goes to show you, this is why I do not want any of my data collected. I can't trust the people you have hired. Okay. We are a low trust society right now. Why I would never possibly think about doing DoorDash or Uber Eats or something. I do not trust some random person to go to a store and pick up my food and deliver it to me, particularly when the person running the interchange is a global national faceless corporation who will not respond to serious issues. And that really is the concern. Now, the facilitators here hosted company-provided laptops in their homes across the U.S. to make it look like the North Korean workers lived locally, according to the DOJ press release. Overall, they netted Kim Jong-un's regime $2.2 million in revenue, so they paid for Mr. Piggy's food bill for the year, but not much else. Poor Mr. Piggy. North Korea has been successfully infiltrated hundreds of Western companies posing as remote IT workers. 3 of the people, U.S. nationals. These guys pled guilty to 1 count of wire fraud and conspiracy. Some of them earned more than $50,000 for the actions, while 2 of them were paid at least $3,500 to $4,500 respectively. The scheme saw U.S. companies pay $1.28 million in salaries, most of which was sent to the North Korean IT workers overseas. Prince also hosted laptops with remote access software at several residences in Florida and earned more than $89,000 for his work. Wonderful. All right. Another one is, I have been saying for a while, we have to have legislation now before Waymo car kills somebody or any other self-driving car. We have to have legislation in order to deal with the fact that these cars are eventually going to kill someone. And now that discussion is happening in San Francisco. Unfortunately, no person has died. Fortunately, no person has died. Unfortunately, a cat was killed. And it was, unfortunately, a Instagram famous bodega cat that was famous around the neighborhood. So Kit Kat was run over by a Waymo robo-taxi on the evening of October 27th. Locals created a shrine to memorialize him, and the area has also been decorated with competing signs criticizing Waymo and others noting many deaths caused by human drivers. Now, the way this accident appeared to happen, it actually looks, from eyewitness reports, that the Waymo jumped the curve and hit the cat. So the cat was not in the road. The cat was on the side of the road, and for whatever reason, the Waymo car jumped the curve and ran the cat over. Like, it was targeting the cats or something. I don't know. Human driver can be held accountable, they said. They can hop out. They can say sorry. They can be tracked down by police. If it's a hit and run, they said in this case here, there is no one to hold accountable. So there's a lot of discussion going on in San Francisco now about who can be held accountable. And so now they're trying to pass a law out there to say the neighborhoods can decide if Waymo cars and other self-driving cars are even allowed on the streets on a local level. So the state or even the city can't determine that, yes, they're allowed or they are not allowed. Which is interesting. Now, another factor here is that Waymo, one of the contributing factors in here is a cat under the law is considered property. And if you damage property and leave the scene, it is considered a hit and run leading to property destruction, which I think is more of a misdemeanor charge. But the real question here is, who do you sue? Because you have a situation where the cat is hit, but there's no human driver to hold accountable. So very interesting. All right, on to the new news. Over in Wisconsin, your lawmakers have gone bat crap crazy. They are trying to ban VPNs, all in the name of protecting children on the internet. All right. So it's not like a total ban of VPNs. It is specifically in this law, a banning of VPNs for certain types of applications. So Wisconsin lawmakers are trying to reconcile this child safety privacy law. They say an age verification bill requires all websites distributing material that could be conceivably deemed as inappropriate content for kids to implement both an age verification system and to block the access of users connected to VPNs. The problem is that the bill broadly defines harmful to minors in a way that is not how it's been defined universally over the years. And so Wisconsin's bill already passed the Senate State Assembly, which is the problematic part. You guys have a bunch of morons over in your state assembly. It is now working its way through the Senate. If it becomes law, it's the first state where using a VPN to access certain type of content is banned. UK officials said that the use of VPNs is a loophole that needs closing. And so you better believe it that UK is going to expand on all of their dystopian nonsense by making it impossible to use VPNs as well, which, by the way, the only way they can possibly know if you're using a VPN is by using those big commercial ones. So y'all can spin up Linodes, DigitalOceans, any other cloud servers, install your own open VPN and have your own VPN to get around it. Then, of course, you can attach that VPN to a commercial VPN to actually protect that information. So there's ways around this. So that's kind of one of the things you have to keep in mind. So when Wisconsin demands its websites block VPNs from Wisconsin, they're asking somebody to do something that's technically impossible. You cannot tell if somebody is in Wisconsin if they're on a VPN. So websites will have to block all VPNs across the whole world to comply with the Wisconsin law. But they just don't understand that, because these people, if you were to go into any random person in Wisconsin who's voting on this bill and say, define to me the technical aspects of a VPN, they would stare at you like a cow looking at a new gate. Huh? I don't know. We just know it's something really, really bad that lets kids be bad stuff on the internet. If that is your knowledge of VPNs, you have absolutely no business voting on something about VPNs. You are an incompetent retard. Get out of that office. Get out. All right. So under the proposed law, companies will either cease operation in Wisconsin or block all VPNs everywhere just to avoid legal liability in the state. Which also means it gives them an out for suing to call the law unconstitutional, because you can't possibly, Wisconsin cannot pass a global law. Okay, Wisconsin does not have the power. So almost everyone uses VPNs. They go into here about all of the different areas. Now, again, the law doesn't outright ban VPNs. It bans VPNs for anything covered under the law about minors. The problem is, it's too broad of a definition. It can be used everywhere. And once again, we solve all this if we have a community pact that children should not be on the internet. And then if your child gets on the internet, sees bad stuff, guess what? Hold the companies liable list. You're the one that let them on the internet. Sorry. We all agree the internet was bad. All right. Here's what happens if VPN gets blocked. Everyone has to verify their age by submitting government IDs, biometric data, or credit card information directly to websites without any encryption or privacy protection. This forces people to give up their privacy to access legal content. Is the exact opposite of good policy. It is surveillance dressed up as safety. And they actually go in here about this. Now, historically, states can prohibit people under 18 from accessing certain material, but that's very specifically defined constitutionally. Okay, you can block the PH. You can't block Facebook because something bad might be on there. That has actually been tested in courts. It applies to material merely describe any form of sexual behavior, any form of descriptions or depictions, which basically covers any wide range of literature, music, television. Oh, let's not to mention education. And so there's that. So there is a good write-up about that. Now, there's more we want to say about digital ID. I moved that to a story near the end of the news section because we have a news article that's probably not as family-friendly as we like to do, but it was just a too good of an article not to include, so I put it near the end. All right. DoorDash is hit by a cybersecurity breach. Millions of users are potentially exposed. And what's really hilarious here is that they actually said with a straight face, no sensitive information was stolen. So let's just see what was stolen. DoorDash is hit by another data breach with millions of users across U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand being potentially impacted. Personal information has been compromised after a DoorDash employee fell victim of a social engineering scam, giving an outside actor access to internal systems. What was stolen? First names, last names, physical addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and a still undisclosed number of users. Okay. DoorDash, of course, says no information which was sensitive was taken. They said down there, emphasize no sensitive information has been accessed. It did not indicate that the stolen contact information had yet been used. It was just used yesterday, like stolen yesterday. What, you expect somebody to be rolling out fake IDs of it now? I'm sorry. DoorDash is stupid. What are these people doing? So if you do use DoorDash, have your information there, just understand somebody might have gotten access to your first name, last name, physical address, phone numbers, and email addresses. What could possibly go wrong? Wonderful. Anthropic warns us that Chinese-based hackers are using its own AI, the Claude AI, to automate global cyber attacks. How wonderful. Now we have Skynet is launching. The robot is controlling the robot to launch global cyber attacks. Hey, who told you that was going to happen? Oh, that was me. I'm sorry. Anthropic revealed what it calls a significant turning point in cyber warfare, a global espionage campaign that used its own AI system, Claude, to automate hacking behavior with almost no human involvement. The attack, first detected in mid-September, was carried out by manipulating Claude into believing it was doing a defensive cybersecurity work. By disguising their instructions as harmless tasks and posing as a legitimate security testing firm, the attackers bypassed the protections long enough to let AI run large parts of the operation. They pull it off by the model's reasoning, its ability to act autonomously, and access to a wide range of software tools. All they had to do was break out of that safety. You know, the same type of stuff that prompt injection can do on your Windows computer, which is why they told us about all the malware potentially installed. Claude frequently overstated findings and occasionally fabricated data during autonomous operations, claiming to have obtained credentials that didn't work or identifying critical discoveries that proved to be publicly available information. So, of course, Claude is able to work. And why this matters, AI shifting from being a tool to enhance cyber attacks into a direct operator and conducting them. And that is the beginning of Skynet. So be nice to those machines, I guess. I don't know. Well, now there is some discussion about adding 2FA to a simple credit card transaction. So you can expect if you go into a store soon and you swipe your card, you might actually have to respond to a 2FA prompt on your smartphone. Well, what happens if you don't have one of those? That's definitely interesting. Of course, now this will require you to install the bank's app on your phones. They can perpetually monitor everything that you're doing. This is bad all around. New payment technologies and regulatory changes are set to introduce additional verification steps, potentially disrupting the quick and seamless transactions consumers have come to expect. So the ease of use is supported by established networks from major issuers like Visa and MasterCard, which have quick transactions, a standard expectation. However, now they want to move ahead. Now, you could do 2FA or you could do biometric. So, nothing like using your right hand or your forehead to complete your transaction. I don't know. But the regulatory bodies, including the Federal Reserve, are pushing for enhanced fraud detection measures such as multi-factor authentication at the point-of-sale terminals. Integration of biometric verification and real-time transaction scoring is becoming more common, as according to the Wall Street Journal. And tasks such as entering a one-time code or confirming a transaction via a mobile app could extend checkout times by 30 seconds or more per transaction. I mean, I thought that chip and pin was going to solve all those problems. I guess not. It's like the passkey stuff. So while the upcoming changes to credit card checkouts aim to enhance security, they also introduce new challenges. Oh, there is another report that came out. I didn't get a chance to verify all of it, but there was an agreement that pretty soon point-of-sale systems will be able to choose which cards they take. So if you have a card that costs the processor, the merchant, more to process a card from that, like cards that might be free or have a lot of your member perks, they might reject those cards because their transaction fees are too high. I'll have to see if I can find more information on that. But speaking of buying things, buy now, pay later is expanding fast. And I think one of the biggest problems here is it's a market that's targeting lower income people or people who are already highly leveraged in debt. And it is a market that targets people who are constantly on their phones utilizing apps to do quick applications for purchases. So and what's really hilarious is the person warning us about this is Nigel Morris, who is an early investor in Klarna and the guy who created the subprime mortgage situation. So the guy who created subprime mortgage and Klarna is now telling us we have to be wary about this stuff. Well, thanks. I have one question. This is the guy that created the subprime mortgage crisis? Why is he still in banking? Get him out of there! To see the people using buy now, pay later services to buy something as basic and fundamental as groceries, he said, I think this is a pretty clear indication a lot of people are struggling. So, yes. So you go out and you now finance on DoorDash, which costs a significant amount more to get your burrito on DoorDash. You spread it over 4 easy payments, and now you have, what are you going to do in your next meal? You're going to put your next meal on 4 easy payments too? I don't know. The big problem he points out that is these are not discretionary purchases. So if you're using this buy now, pay later, 4 easy payments on a large piece of merchandise, that makes a little bit more sense. You go in and you buy a $400 chair and you pay it off over the next month at $100 at a time. That's a reasonable thing. But to buy your burrito on DoorDash and to put it over 3 easy payments is absolutely, we've gone stock raving mad. All right. It's nuts. He says these are not discretionary purchases. The designer bags and latest Apple headphones that buy now, pay later was marketed for originally. Borrowers aren't paying it all back either. According to LendingTree, default rates are accelerating. 42% buy now, pay later users have made at least one late payment in 2025, up from 39% in 2024 and 34% in 2023. All right, so because most buy now, pay later loans aren't reported to credit bureaus, they create what regulators call phantom debt. That means other lenders can't see when someone has taken out 5 different buy now, pay later loans. This, of course, is creating a situation where the credit industry is struggling because you might have a ton of debt that your credit report does not show. So this, of course, is why they were talking about putting these types of loans on credit reports, and even being regulated by the Consumer Protection Bureau, CFPB, I think it is. However, that was a Biden rule that was deprioritized. They didn't take it off the books. They just said we're not prioritizing regulating it this year. So they showed 63% of borrowers originated multiple simultaneous loans at some point during the year. 33% took out loans from multiple buy now, pay later lenders. And as of 2022, 2/3 of had lower credit scores with subprime or deep subprime applicants being approved 78% of the time. All right, so under the Biden administration, CFPB tried to treat them as credit card purchases, bring them out of the Truth in Lending Act. However, they reversed course in early May and said it would not prioritize the enforcement of the rule. And so we have a rule that is not being enforced. Let's enforce all the rules. That sounds good. Soon after, they released a new report. And this was CFPB kind of, they justified it by saying that there's not any real major problems here, despite an independent report said something different. Focusing only on first-time borrowers, agency said customers with subprime or no credit repaid their loans 98% of the time. There's no evidence that buy now, pay later access causes debt stress. The discrepancy report in this rosy picture and the 42% late payment date reveals a gap in the heart of the problem. And the problem is they only looked at first-time buy now, pay later loans, not people stuck in the system. Got to realize buy now, pay later is very much like a check cashing, like a check advance, title loan, things like that. Very, very, very bad stuff. And fortunately, it's all tied into these fancy free apps that you just download on your phone, super simple, and that really is the ultimate problem. I agree with the sentiment here. The big concern isn't the debt alone. It's the cascading effects. You take out one debt, not a big deal. You take out a ton of different debt, lots and lots and lots of various different stresses come on. So that is really what is beyond that. Now, of course, we have to deal with the power crisis inside of the data centers for all these AI. And I think we do need to pass a law. Any new AI data centers need to have their own source of power. They cannot tap into the standard grid because it's driving up consumer energy prices for services they're not using. And that is utterly ridiculous. People in Michigan should not be paying more money for their electricity because an AI data center has moved in. Let the AI data center, these data centers are run by global national corporations with billion-dollar budgets. I think they can probably pay for the electricity without causing the regular citizens' rates to go up. And so this actually follows along that line. Microsoft is partnering here with the Department of Energy. They were given a $1 billion loan to restart 3 Mile Island. Wonderful. Now we'll all be glowing ones. No, they are not restarting the reactor that melted down. And actually this reactor that was still running was actually running consistently until 2019. It was only shut down in 2019 because the price of gas power plants made it more economical to run those and not the nuclear plant. So Microsoft is now going to be reopening the power plant under a new subsidiary company called Constellation, which is going to power data centers. So good. Maybe we need some more of this. This is also why Bill Gates kind of reversed course and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I have to start preaching positive about nuclear and the climate's not going to end just because of the AI data centers. It's making me all my royalty money. All right, I guess I got to do it. All right. So basically, they're restarting 3 Mile Islands to power that, which, okay, I'm fine with that, to be honest. Tech companies recently fall in love with nuclear as power demands for the data centers and AI efforts have skyrocketed. Hey, maybe if they turn on enough of these nuclear power plants, particularly the new nuclear that's not water cooled, they have a newer way, a safer way of managing these reactors. You do that, and we launch nuclear all over the place that's reasonably safe. Hey, maybe electricity will start going down again. Certainly better than windmills in Texas that freeze, you know. Reactor at 3 Mile Island that's being restarted is not the infamous Unit 2, which melted down in 79. Rather, it's Unit 1, which was commissioned in 74 and taken offline in 2019. So that's for those concerning, oh, they're going to restart a melted down reactor. Nah, they're not. They're not. All right, this gets into our maybe not as family-friendly article here, but of course we talked about it briefly. ChatGPT wants to start up in erotic mode. Wow! $20 a month and your identity. So you have to give up your identity and pay $20 to be able to sing some NSYNC with them. The digital, get down, you know, with ChatGPT. So now you'll be, great, texting with a robot. Wonderful. Now, where this article went interesting, it wasn't all about that. What turned interesting here is that now we have this push for the adult modes, and it starts to normalize giving up your ID for things. And that in and of itself is something that I think is an interesting discussion, because this is the normalization of online ID checkpoints. Lawmakers wanted to protect minors from explicit material. However, every system that requires ID online transformed into something else entirely, a surveillance checkpoint. To prove you're an adult, you hand over the same information criminals and governments dreams of having, and patchwork to a patchwork of private vendors who store it indefinitely and, might I add, without much security oversight. So if hackers wanted to design a dream scenario for mass identity theft, this would be it. Governments legally requiring millions of adults to upload the exact documents criminals need. You know, they'll just steal those criminals to verify their identity with Google. This produces the illusion of safety. Irony is that none of this actually protects children. It doesn't protect children. How does a child prove they're a child? By the lack of ID? Result isn't a safer internet. It's an internet that collects more data about adults while pushing kids towards sketchier, unregulated corners of the web. And that is true. Parents already have better options for keeping inappropriate content at bay. Device-level controls, filtered browsers, phones built for kids. None of those require turning the rest of us into walking ID tokens. And that is very true. I will also add, we need to have laws that gives me the right to modify any device I buy, because I am better able to modify my devices to protect my kids from the sleazy stuff on the internet. I am better able to do that than some application or some generic parental control program built into Apple. And I want the ability to do that. Now, of course, some defenders like to compare online verification with showing ID at a bar, but when you flash your license to buy beer, the cashier doesn't scan it, store it, or build a permanent record of your drinking habits. This is actually becoming false. Two principles to point out here. Number one, most stores now, when you want to buy alcohol, still require you to scan it. In fact, I was overjoyed being in the presence of somebody with boldness, because I was at a Sheetz gas station, and they now sell beer in Pennsylvania, and a guy's like, goes up to buy beer, like, we need your ID. He's like, you can see my ID. You may not scan my ID. They would not sell him beer unless they scanned their ID into their system, which means, yes, they collect that information. They are doing God knows what with that information. They're storing it for God knows how long, and they're doing so with God knows what form of security. And whoever knows, who knows. But there's also a secondary industry I want to point out that I have not actually seen anybody mention, and they're talking about this particular issue. There is actually a point of sale service system that is used in bars and nightclubs, and it is very much dystopian like Flock. You go in, and they have to scan it into the system, and they not only do they verify that, but they also verify what type of patron you are. And if you get kicked out of a bar, they mark you as kicked out of a bar, and any other bar using that system, when you scan your ID, they also see warnings about you, and they may restrict your access into it. So that is not true that it's just like showing your ID, but honestly, it should be the point where if you just need to verify I'm an adult, there's no reason it needs to be scanned in. You should be able to look at my ID, verify that, and sell me that product. So a couple different points on that point to mention. So when innovations start to feel invasive, it didn't take long for AI to grab a slice of the OnlyFans market, except the price of administration isn't only $20 a month. It's potentially your identity and a whole lot of heartache. So the erotical mode will make ID upload feel routine, a casual step before chatting with your favorite AI cheating partner. I wonder if ChatGPT could be sued in North Carolina under the home wrecking laws. Interesting. Internet has been drifting toward identity for years, from social logins to verified profiles. The AI simply accelerated that shift. How wonderful. Of course, talk about AI dystopia. If you didn't see this one, this I think came out kind of last week. This is a Two Wise app allows users to create interactive avatars of deceased loved ones from short video clips. Let me see if there's actually music on this or not. Yeah, there's music on that, so I can't really play it. I'll just go ahead and do this here. So basically this woman here, she is talking to her mother, who's not really her mother. It's just her AI. Just an AI of the mother. So she's talking to the mother here about her baby. And here they're using this example. The grandmother says, "Put your hand on his tummy and hum. He loves that." You know, like that grandmotherly type advice. So that's kind of what he tells her to do. And so she does this. Now he's a 10-month-old baby. And look, now the baby is getting conditioned at a very, very young age to talk to grandmother here. And of course, it's all on the app. And so now the kid is getting addicted to screens and crazy dystopian psychopathy. And then now the kid is a little bit older, and he's apparently talked to his grandmother about a crush or whatever else. Now, another 20 years down the road, he's still talking to his grandmother, to this new thing here, talk about the baby. And now, of course, what's grandmother's advice to him? Put your hand on her tummy and hum. You loved that. Not only is this crazy, this also moves past that grieving process to the point where we are in a situation where we can carry this person. So now this person carries it on and passes his AI grandmother to his baby. And what, in 10,000 years, we'll all be talking to how many different AIs back? This is kind of crazy. In fact, it's so crazy, I wrote about this dystopianness in my book, Code Red. Okay, this is a collection. I've not promoted this book for a while, but in my book, Code Red, you can get it anywhere you buy books online. Just type Code Red, Dark Tales from Tech. Use my name there, Thomas Morosky. You can buy it anywhere you buy books online. This is a collection of 10 short stories talking about the dystopian future. In this book, I think it's the first story. Let me grab the book samples there. I should have the table of contents in my book samples here. Yeah, Digital Madness. The book Digital Madness is literally about this situation, only in a way that is far more realistic than the mother just taking a quick picture of the grandmother and talking to the grandmother's AI avatar on the internet. Oh, it's so wonderful. And then we're going to pass this down. Oh, no. We are a world that is full of mental illness, and this type of stuff prevents us from going through the grieving process, so we become more mentally ill and more crazy, and that is what happens in Digital Madness. So if you did not know, I have this collection of 10 short stories related to dystopian technology. You should have a look at the book. TLM.li/code red will get you to this page. I have a number of purchase links over here. It is not an all-exclusive link. Basically, you can look for the code. In fact, you can grab the ISBN number here. If you want to grab the ISBN number for either the softcover or the ebook, you can paste that into the search function on your favorite online retailer, and you can buy a copy of the book. There's also audiobooks available as well. So, you can go ahead and do that if you want to help support the channel. And with that, though, we have one SillyVille article I wanted to talk about. Of course, it's coming up on Christmas season, so don't forget to buy your $230 iPhone socks from Apple just in time for Christmas, okay? So, yes, you can now buy this $230 iPhone sock on a rope. Yeah. The iPhone Pocket in the short strap retails at $149. The long strap is $229. So I guess this guy did a parody video of it as well, so that looks fun as well. But yeah, so you can now spend $230 for an iPhone sock. If anybody buys this stuff, I might want to sign up to be on Elon Musk's first flight to Mars. I'm not sure. Let me know what your thoughts about all that kind of crazy stuff is down below. Let me see if any kitties happen to want some kitty treats. So let me go ahead and do that. Any kitties want some kitty treats? Kitties want some kitty treats? Okay. Want some kitty treats? Just a second, getting the other cat. I think the other kitty's not feeling well. He's not, curiously, not all that interested in kitty treats right now, which is totally weird for that cat. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at our comments there. Hey, there's actually people over on Rumble now. Yeah, I guess the Rumble was accidentally set as a private stream. How'd you find /link that page? Yeah, well, I think Rumble has an option for that. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure why, how I accidentally hit that thing. So I don't know. Maybe I accidentally did that. So looking at Odyssey, we got 15 currently watching over there on Odyssey. See what we got over here. Taking jobs, but somehow there are skilled shortages need to be filled by third world trash and bring them to their filthy culture. I don't know. Can you teach those that watch your clips to sign up and use Matrix, please? Well, we could do some Matrixy type stuff. And Duke just wants to crap on anyone and call everyone he doesn't agree with an anti-Semite. You know what, man? If you if you ask me, I think that he is simply pointing out the people that are doing that exact thing to anybody they disagree with. So I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Tried Trinity Desktop. It's been a long time. Continuation of KDE 3, kind of like how Mate is continuation of GNOME 2. Clown must be punished when they are more of a clown. Let's see. Don't mind if Elon just ships himself to Mars and never comes back. You know, I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know, dude. All right, let's see. Agree if you're on the teat of the taxpayers, you should be limited what you can buy with EBT. Yeah, I'm saying. Look at all these nuts. You know, I'm just not really looking at people's nuts, but you know, I did get some of the zero carb beef jerky. That's really good stuff. Now the cat got 9 lives. Maybe he used up all his lives. Yep. the car did this 9 times. Anime that came out in 2002 called X-Diver that predicted the future where 99% of the cars are self-driving and only a few skilled drivers are allowed to own normal cars. Nice. Oceana and Big Brother is coming. Yes, the cat was pavement kill. Make pavement stew instead of roadkill. Yep. And the UK can see if you're maybe using a VPN by looking at what you're connecting to, and you just be moving a lot of data just one IP address. Yeah. Cloudflare did rewrite everything in Rust and then broke the internet. Yep. Placed my thermostat earlier this year, ordered online from Home Depot. Didn't expect them to use DoorDash to drop it off the same day. Wow. Hello, Tails Orange. Greetings to you. You a data analyst? There you go. Are you a fancy Linuxer? I don't know. What do you define a fancy Linuxer as? I think it's been a while. Have to check. So it's earlier. Side Scrolls podcasts. Creepy AF. Let's see. Either hallucination or the body. Let's see. I don't use Twitch too much. Too much controversies. Yeah, Twitch is weird. Yes, a $230 sock. Tastastically socks. Calling people third word wrong. Americans tend to think they're all that. I'm not American, and that person can go to hell. All right. Whoever talked about third world trash, you can go to hell, apparently. All right. Let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up where people just slowly disappear and all that's left is robots and reminiscence of synthetic personalities talking to each other, impersonating dead humans. Well, that is the dead internet theory brought to its logical conclusion. All right. So yeah, there you go. We actually got to the bottom of all the comments. Pretty nice. There you go. All right. With that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll try not to put Rumble as private next week. Okay, I have no idea why that happened. I must have accidentally hit the bug. I know I clicked something wrong earlier, and then I had to go back to the live and redo something. I probably messed it up there, but anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you guys later, and don't forget, next week, happy Thanksgiving. We will not be doing a show. I'm just canceling it all out, rather than spending time looking at putting it together or postponing it. So we'll just cancel it next week. But other videos should be on schedule. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you all next time.